Hey everyone, it's Ermysenigma again, and I know I just did a sneak peek video, but Taringa likes to mess with me because as soon as I did my video and edited it, they updated the website, and I gotta tell you, the stuff they updated, it is worth making a video on. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So first things first, we have the skills for this monster, whose name is Leader, I don't know if the Y is silent, I'm just gonna say Leader. And let's see what we have. Let's look at the skills together. Show it to me, deals low physical damage, deals moderate nature damage, aiming for you, I see your problem, applies one random negative effect to target. Nothing too interesting so far. Look at me now, removes all positive status effects from target, gives immunity to possession to ally, gives immunity to nightmares to ally, not too special, removes all negative status effects from itself, gains stamina regeneration, self skill, not too special. Deals low nature damage to all enemies, removes all positive status effects from all targets, gives weakness to dark. So this is a pretty good skill, pretty good setup skill actually. This skill will remove any buff the enemy may have and make him weak to dark attacks. So let's see if he has anything to follow up with that. Deals moderate special damage to all enemies, may blind all targets. This might have been better if it was dark based, because then he could use it after I see your destiny. But regardless, I am so shiny. The fact that it's an AoE blind skill, I'm assuming this monster is going to be more supportive. He has an AoE blind, he can set up for dark attacks. And then he has self skills, he can make an ally immune to possession. Let's see what else he has. 50% chance of blinding, that's not good. Mirror of the Soul, deals moderate special damage to all enemies, applies one random negative effect to target, removes all negative status effects from all allies. So this is a really nice supportive skill. You're applying a random negative effect to the enemy team, while at the same time removing any debuff your team may have. You feel weaker, deals moderate special damage, healing effects hurt target for 3 turns. I Will Find You, deals heavy nature damage based on target. Whoa. For a while I was thinking this was a dark based monster, but he's a nature based monster. So I was trying to analyze him in my head if he was a dark monster, so let's see. Why does he give weakness to dark? Oh, that's what confused me. So he's a nature monster that makes the enemy weak to dark attacks. So he could potentially work. He's a supportive nature monster. Interesting. I really love this skill. Giving negative effects to the enemy team while removing any debuffs you may have. Considering nature monsters tend to poison you a lot, which reduces your health and your damage output, this can be pretty good. And he can also make one of your allies immune to possession, so if you're facing the Lao Mu, hopefully this monster comes with immunity to possession himself. Otherwise, I would have preferred if that was a team skill. So based on skills, so far not that amazing. Well, I guess we'll have to see what the stats are, because at least it can stun and at least it can apply negative effects and remove effects and add effects. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. As for the ultimate attack, I Win, deals massive nature damage to all enemies, may blind all targets, and healing effects hurt target for 3 turns. Okay, that's awesome. So the fact that he has healing effects hurt targets for 3 turns, I forgot he has that as a regular skill too. He might be a really good anti-nature monster actually. What was the skill again? You feel weaker, deals moderate special damage, healing effects hurt target for 3 turns. I'd prefer if it was an AoE, but I guess it might work as a single target if you're facing off against a nature monster that can self-heal. Again, we're just gonna have to wait and see what the stats are and the trait for this monster. But moving on to something a lot more interesting, Awakening of the Artifacts. Wake up artifacts, this is your moment. Timerion isn't the only artifact anymore. A steampunk powered island has risen with new artifact monsters. Get them all and evade all negative status effects. So we are getting an island apparently full of new monsters that have artifact abilities. So now Timerion won't be the only monster that has artifact. And I guess technically he wasn't, because we do have Totem that has like the spirit trait, which is essentially the same thing. But that is really cool. I'm wondering if these monsters are all going to be metal based, because they are like artifacts, right? Or they're going to end up being different elements, because if they're different elements, we're going to have some good monsters put on defense now that are going to be immune to all sorts of immobilizing skills. So again, like I say over and over again, we have this information, but we're going to have to wait and see what actually comes out. Story of the artifacts. Find out how the awakening of artifacts took place. The artifacts have waken up. Discover the story behind these monsters on the Monster Legends Community Facebook page. So I'm assuming it's going to be a progressive island, because for the maze we already have information that's going to be all the Abomination monsters. And there's even an indication of an island boost. This event makes it easier to get the items you need for the island. Now just keep in mind that all of the information in here isn't 100% accurate. Social Point at any point can decide not to do an island boost. That actually happened with the recent progressive island. So just because it says there's an island boost, don't count on it completely. And check this out, meet Jasister. Whenever we have something that says meet, insert monster name here, this is the last monster in the event. So this is going to be the last monster in the maze. Which I'm thinking great, because that means that the other 2 monsters that I discussed in the previous video, they're going to be easier to get. At least now we know they won't be last. But the only thing that does slightly worry me is that their stats may not be as good as I originally hoped for, because they definitely have amazing skills. Anyways, moving on to this monster. When Jasister takes control of his enemies' minds, there's no way to escape. He drains their stamina, gives them nightmares, and what's most dangerous, he can possess them all in one move. So we have ourselves a monster with an AoE possession skill. What I'm not sure by the sentence is if it's implying that this monster is an AoE possession, stamina drain, and nightmares all in one move, or if it's just saying he can drain stamina and give AoE nightmares, and aside from that he can do AoE possession. So if it's a 3-in-1, that's going to be phenomenal. And also his ultimate attack, or his special attack, hurts enemies heavily, stuns them, and makes them bleed. So an AoE stun and bleeding, and it also deals heavy damage. But that's not all, folks. What makes Jessastar most special is his unique trait, Abomination. This feature makes him immune to not 1 or 2, but 3 side effects. That's right, he's going to be immune to possession, bleeding, and nightmares. Now, like I mentioned previously, immunity to possession and nightmares, not too much of a big deal. Nightmares isn't something we need to worry about, but immunity to possession and bleeding, that is so darn good. And even though I care about immunity to nightmares, just the fact that it has nightmares on top of bleeding and possession, that's just icing on the cake. And so overall, this is amazing. We have the first monster to be immune to 3 different types of effects. And now all we have to wait and find out is what this monster's stats are going to be. I kind of have a feeling that they're going to make him crazy fast, because recently they've been making the monsters that are harder to get with really fast speeds. I'm talking 3498. It happened with Baba Yaga, it happened with Cassandra, so it might happen with Jessastar too. And unfortunately, for those of you that are free to play, you probably won't be able to get this monster because the amount of coins needed to get him is just going to be unreal. But don't fret, because you'll probably still be able to get Fognar and Krugbo. But anyways, the other thing I wanted to talk about was the new Nemesis monster, Warthak. Warthak has an exclusive trait that makes him immune to stun and possession. So I already knew he was going to be immune to stun, that was obvious, and I was thinking it was also going to be daze. But they decided to step it up and make him immune to possession. This is crazy good. Keep in mind, there's going to be a dark version of him and a light version of him. But anyways, immunity to stun, this protects him against mostly earth monsters, and thanks to the fact that he's immune to possession, this also protects him against Baba Yaga. And against dark monsters, immunity to possession is what you need, and immunity to stun, because plenty of dark monsters can AoE stun you or AoE possession you. Now the only thing you have to worry about in the dark category now is probably Krampus, who can freeze you. And seriously, overall the main way of immobilizing this monster is going to be by freezing or by stamina drain. But let's see what else this Nemesis monster can do. He can deal very heavy damage and apply effects that deal damage over time. So not only does he do heavy damage, he also applies a DOT. So that makes me wonder what DOT. What makes the most sense is probably going to be bleeding, potentially quicksand. And he has acquired a skill that allows him to give all of his allies shields, precision, damage boost, and immunity to stun. What the heck, this monster does 4 things to his whole team. He gives all of his team a shield, which I'm assuming is going to be a 50% shield, maybe less. If it's a full shield, if it's a general tomb shield, that is going to be insane. Because on top of that, your whole team gets increased accuracy, they get a damage boost, which I'm assuming is going to be a 50% boost, not a double damage boost. I think a double damage boost with everything else this skill does is too much, and immunity to stun. So this monster completely protects your team, protects their life, protects them from being immobilized from stun, and I'm assuming it's also going to apply to Mega Stun, and this skill even readies your team to attack on the next turn because they're not going to be missing and they're going to be buffed. Yes, all in one move, that is crazy. Even with no stamina, Warthak can keep going and give himself stamina regeneration and an extra turn. What the heck, so he can make sure he can hit. So even if this monster has no stamina, we saw this with the first Nemesis monster. The first Nemesis monster has a skill that costs no stamina, while Warthak, he's also going to have a skill that costs no stamina, and it's going to give him self-stamina regeneration and an immediate extra turn. So no matter what, you're guaranteed an attack with this monster. So I guess stamina drain can't even stop this monster. The only thing that can stop him now is freeze. And oh my gosh, Social Point is really stepping it up with these Nemesis monsters. Immunity to stun and possession, an extra turn skill that costs no stamina and gives this monster stamina regeneration. And I mean, just the fact that it's an extra turn skill, I'm assuming it's going to have a high cooldown, because just the fact that you have an extra turn skill, that decreases the cooldown on all of your skills by 1. So I just can't wait to see what the skills are on this monster, what the cooldowns are, what the stats on this monster is, for all different types of versions. I'm assuming the dark one is going to be the best one, just because it's going to have that elemental advantage over the earth monsters. And oh my gosh, I just can't wait for this monster's release. I probably won't be purchasing them, but for those of you that do purchase Nemesis monsters, you are going to get a good monster, I'm telling you right now. And at this point, I'm honestly just waiting to see if Hydrotilla is going to become one element as opposed to being 3 different elements, like how Lucifer is just fire based but with different elemental attacks. And honestly, that's pretty much all I wanted to share with you guys. Next up is just there's going to be cells in Monsterwood. You can get Lernian, Brynhilda, Hackster, Laulau, so some pretty good cells, and I'm hoping it's like it was with Cassandra where we got like 70 cells, because I was able to get that monster just from cell donations, and I'm hoping it's the same thing. And that applies for the Team Race monster and the current monsters from the Progressive Island. And there's also going to be some cells for Thyra. But that's not really too important. What's really important is the Nemesis monster, the traits he has, the skills he's gonna have. And Jessastar is important too, the fact that he's gonna have the first Abomination trait. Hopefully there's more monsters with Abomination, it's not just exclusively for this monster. And speaking of traits, we're gonna be getting more monsters with the Artifact trait, so definitely be looking forward to that. And if you want to see anything for yourself, I'm using Taringa.net, there's going to be a link in the description, and best of luck to all of you on your Monster Legends adventures. I highly recommend that you start saving your gems or start saving your money because there are so many amazing events coming up. With that being said, I'm RRabbits, and like always, remember to dream big and pursue your passions.